Thank you again for joining us. Cari and I are really excited to bring this conversation to life today because we've been noticing that, and it's not just agents, it could be admin, it could be really anybody in the industry. What happens when your confidence is just lacking? And especially right now with the market, it's an uncertain market, it's an uncertain time. And the reality is, Cari, that the market is always fluctuating, right? And it doesn't necessarily need to be within the real estate industry itself. It could be even if you are currently working in another field, things are ebb and flow. And sometimes, in our life, things are uncertain. So what do we do with our confidence if we're feeling a little wonky or I feel like our mojo is just kind of depleting? How can we cope with that? And what are some different tools and strategies to help us build our confidence again? So Cari and I are going to just address 6 things that we think that you could implement today to really help continue to maintain your confidence level during any time of uncertainty. Right, Cari?
Yes. And I can't wait. And you were right. The only certain thing in our life is change, right? So things are always changing. So when we feel that change and that uncertainty, and we start to feel, like you said, our mojo shift and like our energy shift, and we're just really anxious. I had somebody tell me on the phone the other day, it's like I'm waking up in a panic attack and I'm not even really sure why. It's just because that feeling of uncertainty can really kind of leak into our subconscious and create this underlying anxiety. So I think strategy around this is really important right now.
Perfect. So we're going to do it this way. I'm going to identify a couple of things and then Cari will identify a couple of things. So the first thing that I want to tell you to do, if you are feeling a lack of confidence during any time of uncertainty, is to acknowledge your feelings. What you're feeling is valid. It's real. And we have to get real about how you feel so that you can identify the feeling and then you can move past it. So that's the very first thing. Acknowledge your feelings. The second thing that I would recommend doing is finding a support system. So what does that look like? Well, in our industry, it could be finding a coach, a tribe of people, a community of like-minded leaders. I have to say that it's very, very important who you surround yourself with. And this is actually a lesson that my grandmother taught me when I was little. She would always say, who you surround yourself with is so important. And she was absolutely right. Because if you are, first of all, if you're the smartest person in the room, how are you ever going to learn anything? Secondly, if you're hanging out with people who are at your same level, how will you continue to rise if everyone in the room is at the same level as you? So you want to surround yourself with people who are already successful in the areas that you're struggling in. So find a coach, find a tribe, and be in the same flow as them. Meet with them regularly. Have powerful conversations that are going to spark motivation for you or help you to achieve the momentum that you need. And then the third thing I'll address is you have to take care of yourself. Managing your stress and anxiety is very, very critical here. You have to move your body. You have to calm the mind, whether that's, exercising, stretching, doing some yoga, taking some time to do some breathing or meditating, just to help you have the self-awareness to, again, identify and acknowledge your feelings so that you can move past it, right? We don't want to stay stagnant. Heck, it's even sometimes better to move, to take a few steps back than to just stay in the same place. We want to either move forward or just take a step back to acknowledge what's happening so that we can feel propelled to move forward. But you definitely do not want to stay stagnant.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, from a psychological perspective, it's actually one of the main reasons that people become depressed and feeling hopeless and without options, which creates a whole other challenge in terms of being able to move forward and make the best decisions for yourself and your life. And that is that when we stay in a spot and we're like frozen there and we can't go forward or we don't go backward, we do nothing. It's just hopeless. It's like helpless. Well,
staying in the same spot creates actually a lot more anxiety for yourself, which leads to self-doubt, which can lead to fear and a scarcity mindset and depression. I mean, it's just a whole domino effect. But, acknowledging, so again, I'll just repeat this, acknowledge your feelings, find a support system, and take care of yourself. Those are the three things that you could be implementing today to help you continue to build your confidence in any time that's uncertain.
Yeah. And then to move that forward, so now we've identified you can't stay in the same place. You've got to get moving in some direction. Hopefully you'll first take a step back to assess, like Haley suggested. I think that's really important. But then you need to get yourself into some sort of action. And it's difficult to get ourselves in action when we're anxious, we're nervous, we're uncertain. So one of the really great strategies is to set some sprint goals for yourself. So maybe you feel overwhelmed right now and you don't know how you're going to actually get to your end of the year goal because things are changing in the market. And you're not, you've had clients fall off if you're in real estate. If you're in the mortgage industry, you've definitely had a shift in your business. There's a lot of things changing out there. So if you find yourself in a position where you're like, wow, I'm not really sure I'm going to hit that goal, and I feel really overwhelmed right now because I don't know what to do in this time of change, forget about that and just set a sprint goal to move forward and get yourself in a place that you're better than you are today, whether that be 1 week from now, whether that be a month from now, maybe 6 weeks, that's up to you. Depending upon what your goals are, you might need a little bit longer time. You might be able to achieve some small goals in 1 week. But what I found is, psychologically speaking, when we feel overwhelmed, we don't know what to do. If we can really shorten up and do some really small things, what happens is we gain that confidence in every small win. Confidence and self-trust builds upon itself like kind of a building block, right? So we want to make sure that we set these sprint goals. We have someone hold us accountable. So when we said, who is our support system? Who's there to encourage you to that sprint goal? Who can you share that sprint goal with? Who's going to help hold you achievable to that? Because that's a really, really important thing. Remember, we are willing to show up for other people more than we're willing to show up for ourselves. So when we feel really stuck, we got to put ourselves in a position to be motivated sometimes by other people. And that's okay, by the way. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how we are as human beings. So sprint goals are really, really important. I would pick one today and move forward with it. Get yourself into some action. You'll feel better. Trust me. And then you've got to be patient with yourself, because feeling upset about how you feel it makes no sense. It's just self-sabotaging, right? Because now you're just allowing yourself to feel bad about how you feel, and you already feel bad. So it's just feeling bad upon feeling bad upon feeling bad. It doesn't matter. It just is what it is. You feel the way you feel. You've accepted it and acknowledged it, like Haley said at the beginning of the call. But now you have to be patient with yourself through this, because just because you've acknowledged it and you said, okay, I'm going to move my body a little bit more, relieve some of my stress, I'm going to get a sprint goal going, you're still not going to feel 100%. You probably still are going to feel a little bit wonky. You probably still don't have the confidence you maybe had a few months ago. That's okay. It's just what it is. So be patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up, because by doing that, simply all you do is make yourself feel worse. When you make yourself feel worse, you are less motivated and you're just self-sabotaging at that time. So you've got to watch yourself talk. Be patient. Be patient with yourself. Give yourself some grace. And the last thing is, you got to get yourself into the present, because when we're living in the past, that's when we feel depressed. When we're living in the future, that's when we feel anxious. Getting in the present can relieve a little bit of both the depression and the anxiety, because the only place you have power as a human being is in the now. That's the only place that we have any power. If we can move from feeling uncertain or hopeless into empowerment, it makes us feel a whole lot better. So here's the reality. In whatever career, industry, or time you're in right now, if you're in real estate like us, the market is what it is. It just is. It's not good. It's not bad. It just is what it is. Remember, situations, realities don't have any emotion attached to them. We're attaching the emotion. So if you wake up every day going, oh my gosh, this is a horrible market. Well, of course, it's going to be a horrible market for you. But that's because you're attaching that emotion to it. It's not horrible until you do that, because there are people waking up today going, okay, this is a market of opportunity. How am I going to take advantage of it? Those people have the same reality as you, but they're thinking about it different. They're attaching a different emotion to it. So first and foremost, you have to realize it just is what it is. So once you accept what it is, then you can realize, what can I do about it? What can I do right now about it? Well, I would suggest that you do a couple of things. Yes, you reframe how you think about the market. You go look at what are the opportunities, because by the way, things are still selling. People are still moving. You've got to look around you and see what's happening, what's selling, why is it selling? Go look at your statistics, go talk to people, ask people why they're uncertain, go talk to your mortgage professional. If you're, what are they seeing? What benefits, what packages, what loan programs? Can you learn about assumable loans? Can you learn about, buyer, financing options, because there are more coming out, especially for first-time home buyers. Can you talk about how you can find rate buy downs? What you need to do is empower yourself with education right now, probably more than anything, so you feel competent to go talk to the right people about the right things, so you can actually find the opportunities that are here to present themselves in this given market.
Right.
So let's really quick recap. My 3 things were, the first thing is to sprint goals, to take charge and do something, but create something much smaller maybe than what you initially thought, so you can get rid of the overwhelm and get into action. Then you need to be patient with yourself, give yourself some grace, because it's not going to turn around overnight. None of us are like that. It's not perfect. And then the last thing is take the power of the now, live in the present, and do something about what you can today that will make you feel good about yourself, and that will find opportunity.
Love that. Thank you so much, Cari. And of course, if anybody who's listening would like to have a deeper conversation about this, or just curious about, what Cari and I have conversations, what our conversations are like with leaders all over the nation. In fact, some of our clients are even, not in the US. We work with people outside of the US too. And so if anybody is curious or would like to have a deeper conversation, please reach out to us, because these are things that Cari and I are very, very passionate about: how to get into action, how to continue to build your confidence during times of uncertainty, how to create those sprint goals. Like, how do you even know what is a sprint goal? How can I measure? How are they measurable or scalable? What does that look like for you? Just reach out to us, because we're so happy to take the time to have those conversations with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, you guys, there's something that you're facing that you'd love to hear our perspective on, because we do talk to a lot of people. So we're able to gather a lot of information from a lot of people and then share it out to the masses. I think that's the value that Haley and I really bring, is that we have our own experiences, but we talk to a lot of people in a lot of different roles across the world, navigating challenges and things like that. And so we can share those things with you guys. So just let us know if there's something you'd like to hear our perspective on. We'd love to share it. You can do that here below our Facebook posts every week. You can do it in our YouTube channel. Make sure you go check out Real Talk with Cari and Haley. And we'll see you back here next Tuesday.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Haley.
Thanks,
Talk
Cari.
to you guys soon.